Most welcome. My name is Connie, and I'm going to be talking to you tonight about Pro Vitality. And we've called it the foundation because this is the kind of product that you can build upon. And I want to make a small example because in my day-to-day life, I do help quite a lot of people. And the reason why Pro Vitality becomes so important is that the combination shows up more often than not. So if you're a distributor or you are somebody who's interested in health and where to really jet off, this is the kind of place where you would really fundamentally start. But ideally, I need to be talking about why you would think that supplementation would be important. And simply, it's just to build those nutritional gaps. And I know that among many of us, there's obviously this belief that we are obviously eating as best as we can. But if we're really honest and if we really look into it, you may find that there are these nutritional gaps that we need to plug into. But the other thing that it makes me super excited about this product is that it's this comprehensive formula. So it combines all these essential elements all in one place. And if you're a consumer or a user, you don't have to worry about what pieces are missing. So Pro Vitality will give you this foundation that we're talking about. And I'm going to touch a little bit on the foundation bit a bit later. And the other thing I wanted to touch on a little bit about Pro Vitality is this targeted nutrition delivery that it gives. So each and every single element that you find in Pro Vitality will be doing a specific job in unison. And that's quite amazing. Okay. So where do I want to start? I want to start with why Neolife. Because it's really easy to talk about our products because we know that our products work, and that is the reason why I put it up there. Some of the things that are important to me, and it's also helpful for you to know, especially when you are conversing with people or you want it to be able to have a more solid story. It's nice to know why you've chosen this particular brand. And we've got so many things that are quite amazing. But for me, I think I put some of the ones that really stuck out for me, like a whole foods policy. Whole foods policy really talks about how the science that we base our products on is really linked to real foods. And for me, that was a light bulb moment, because if we're talking about whole foods, I want to get as close as possible to the whole foods thing. So this whole foods policy really encapsulates what Neolife is really about, especially when it comes to nutritional supplements. The other thing I wanted to touch on is products that work. And many of you probably have met me a year ago and probably see me now. And if you're asking yourself what's happened in that space in between, I'm going to leave it there with the products that work bit so you can figure out the rest for yourself. The next bit is the quality aspect of things. I can't tell you guys how impressed I am with Neolife, where the products are obviously coming in from, where they come from, but the additional testing that we do, and hands up to our quality control department that really do those due diligences that make sure that all of us, the supplements that we consume are of a superior quality. So hands up to them. The other thing is the science-based bit. Now, I know that on paper, we should all be able to eat a balanced diet on a day-to-day basis. But I think for all of us that are joining the call now have realized how difficult something like that can be. And I like the fact that they've used some sort of reference points, and I love science. And of course, science is always changing from day to day, but I love the idea that some clever people wanted to come together and see if they could find these solutions that could help us really sort of elevate our lifestyles or even take better care of our health. And the last one for me, obviously, it may not be applicable to everybody, but people are number one. For me, this entire journey has always been about people and about helping people, about people realizing how can they elevate themselves, particularly through nutrition. And I know in an ideal space, we want to do it with good whole foods. But what happens when we are living in spaces where we're foregoing these really important nutrients? And this is where the sweet spot that Neolife hits for me. Now, this is a very important slide. And if you don't know anything about the Scientific Advisory Board, especially if you are a guest, these are the really important people that sit behind how we come up with our incredible formulations and our quality products. And the man on the left there, Dr. Arthur First, is really the man who spearheads this particular idea many years ago, working as a toxicologist, obviously working in the cancer space. He was looking for solutions. And his story is absolutely incredible. And I just wanted to bring your attention to a person number 4 in the first row, which is Ariana Karugi, a very incredible researcher. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about her research, which helps us when we obviously validate everything that we say. Some of the incredible research she's done in the space, particularly with our products. And that's an important thing. There are not that many people that are really putting their products to the test. And we should be quite grateful and thankful that there are a group of people that seek their own understanding from how our products work, as well as putting them to the test. That's important. We cannot just believe it because they say it, but we actually have to prove it. And then the second person I want to bring your attention to, because I always use this slide, but I never really go deeper down into the individuals, is Todd Miller and the bottom right-hand corner. Todd Miller he's not new anymore, but has been one of the newer additions to the Scientific Advisory Board. I am super excited about Todd Miller joining because he brings an exercise and sports a background to his knowledge, and he's a researcher. He's got a lot of stuff on our Neolife YouTube page. If you're interested in obviously seeing his content, please do. This guy is incredible and super knowledgeable. But to bring us to what we are here to talk about today, which is a Pro Vitality. And like I said, this product is foundational, right? And what is a foundation if we think about it? It means that this product is the very product upon all the other products you'll be built on. And that's no surprise to me because of the various disease conditions that I deal with from a day-to-day basis. And I can't tell you how many times this combination of trenin, salmon oil plus, and carotenoid really come into the space. So it was really created with the intention to provide nutrition that is often missing in our diet. And I would love to say that our diets are complete and whole and full. But if you know, and you are probably on this call, you would know that you are probably lacking in some places or not, either for preference issues, either because it's medically indicated, so you can no longer eat it because of a medical condition, or just because you can't really access them. So sometimes it's nice to know that you can access a particular food, but what happens if you can't? And this is exactly why we have products like Pro Vitality. So in other words, if you do nothing else, take Pro Vitality. And Pro Vitality consists primarily of 4 products into one convenient sachet, right? And these products are also sold individually. I wanted to mention that because some of the recommended dosages of the particular products I'm going to talk about today is a little bit higher than what Pro Vitality provides, but Pro Vitality really hits the sweet spot because it combines these unique particular supplements into one place. And firstly, we have a trenin, which is a grain concentrate, which was actually developed to ensure people get critical nutrients that are missing from the diet. What does that mean? At Neolife, we talk about cellular nutrition. And if you have no idea what cellular nutrition talks about, we are all fundamentally cells, and we need to be feeding our cells to ensure that our cells can do the work that they are supposed to do. Then we have carotenoid complex to help add the important phytonutrients from fruit and vegetables that are often difficult for people to get enough of in their diet. Then we have omega-3 salmon oil plus for those critical fatty acids, important for heart health, as we know, but we're going to touch a little bit more on that, and to support a healthy, balanced inflammatory response. Then finally, we've got our 23 essential vitamins and minerals supplement to actually elevate the entire picture. And for added benefit, we combine these nutrients with phytoenzymes for optimal digestion. What does that mean? It means that what's in these particular products can be broken down quite well in the system. And I was lucky enough to engage with our pharmacist in the week last week. He was explaining to me how quickly training really disintegrates. It's like a minute or so. And that already told me that we could realize all those nutrients as quickly as possible. Now, the next thing I wanted to touch on is the benefits of Pro Vitality, which is super, super, super important because most of the time we are recommending these particular products, but people want to know what they can do for them. But before we talk about what it can do for them, we can generally talk about how probably most people would be needing this particular product, because we have individuals with nutritional gaps. Even myself, I have nutritional gaps. So those who may not be getting sufficient nutrients from their regular diet, they will be getting it from Pro Vitality. There's some
Sorry, Connie.
Mario.
Sorry, sorry, Connie. I'm just going to
okay.
set up the translation dropped off, and
No
I need
problem.
to add it again. Mario, 1 second. Okay, go for it, Connie. Thank you.
Oh, we're all good. Thank you, Drew. And like I was talking about, identifying those key individuals would be really great. Individuals that have nutritional gaps. And between you and me, that's most people. Most people have nutritional gaps because we are unable to really realize true nutrients from the diets we eat for various reasons, like I mentioned. Then we've got specific groups that we like to zone in on because we already know that they require a little bit more based on which phase they are in their lives, like pregnant and lactating women. Although they can get the nutrients from the food, you may find different dietary preferences that eliminates those particular food groups where we can plug in. But in general, pregnant and lactating women are more likely to obviously use supplements because they need things like folate, among many others. Then we've also got elderly individuals, which are the kind of individuals that obviously the body isn't working as efficient as it used to, and the need for additional supplements would be required there. But what I want to shift my focus to, and that's probably the best conversation starter, or somewhere where you can have the real conversation, is to talk about what you know, or the results that the product can do. And some of the things that we are speaking about here are things that have actually been put to the test, and research has been done on that, and we should be really feeling really safe around thinking about what this product can do. The first one is abundant energy. And abundant energy can seem like something that we skip over, but think about it for a second. If you had all the energy to do what you need to do, whether it's complete the tasks that you plan out to do, or be a better mom, or be a better person at work, or, all the things that it can amount to are really something that you can really measure. So abundant energy is a very good thing to mention when you talk about what can this product do for me. The other thing is antioxidant protection, and everybody needs antioxidant protection because our bodies go through various chemical reactions, and the need for antioxidants to obviously mitigate the risk of free radicals and oxidative stress. And that's where that really fits in. You may not understand what all these things are, but between you and me, these things are happening in our bodies, and we need to be giving our bodies those particular nutrients so they can do the work they're supposed to do. Then we've got things like heart health, which I know for most people, it isn't something that touches them quite closely because it's something far removed. But we should be thinking about how well we take care of our hearts. We are living longer now, so we obviously need to take care of our hearts so they can sustain us for the long life that we're going to live. Then we have immune support, so things like disease. If you want to look after yourself in a sense of making sure that you are not vulnerable to disease or certain illnesses, this is where you would turn your attention to. Then we've got healthy brain function, and I think all of us want that. Flexible, healthy joints, clear vision, youthful skin, hair and nails, and lifelong cellular health. And cellular health really is at the heart of what we do here at Neolife. And these 4 products provide these particular benefits that I'm talking about in combination. So you have to be taking the complete product to really realize the benefits I'm talking about here. So the idea is that not only to provide important nutrients and phytonutrients that are often missing in our diet, but to also provide a product that has these antioxidant properties that can help with a balanced and healthy inflammatory response. And the reason why this is so important is that many chronic illnesses, such as obesity or diabetes, and even cardiovascular disease, among many others, are caused by chronic inflammation. You may not know this, but that's really what causes it. And inflammation causes oxidative stress. You may not know what oxidative stress is, but just the stress bit should tell you that there's a problem. And mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondrial dysfunction is something that you do not want, because the mitochondria is the energy powerhouse of our cells. They are responsible for giving us the energy that we feel. So when these chronic inflammation states start to happen, you have cells that are working at a less efficiency than they're supposed to, which leads to increased production of free radicals, of course, and other biochemical inducers that cause chronic inflammation. And having a healthy diet is really the cornerstone and the gold standard here, and avoiding those types of illnesses. But now we have a product that we can plug in there, because we already know that we are not really getting the healthy diet part on lock. But the first product I wanted to talk about, because remember, Pro Vitality is fundamentally 4 products in one, is TreNN grain concentrates. And if you have not heard of TreNN, I would like to introduce you to one of our foundational products at Neolife called TreNN, which is a product made up of extracts from wheat, soy, and rice oils. And it's unique because it's the only product that combines these particular 3 oils. It's unique for that. And originally developed back in the 50s, because they were doing a hospital study and they were looking at chronic fatigue and all sorts of things, but it has since been found to be beneficial for overall health. And I'm not really surprised by that if you understand how a permeable cell membrane works, and how good fats communicate with each other, and how that can be the playground for essential nutrient absorption. And one of the key roles of TreNN is to help our bodies extract those important nutrients from the foods we eat, making our diets more effective. I don't know about you, but a lot of people could tell me that I do eat healthy, but it's not necessarily translating. That could be telling you about the health of your cell. And fundamentally, we're looking at these really good fats to be able to aid in the permeability of our cell walls, to allow those nutrients in and to push out those waste toxins. And this is especially important because many people don't consume enough whole grains. Remember, training is made up of wheat, soy, and rice oils, and you might be eating these particular things, but they are highly processed, right? And the idea here is to bring back into the diet what has been lost through modern day food processing. And these fats, because they're found in whole grains, are vital for health, for our cell membranes, like I mentioned before, which in turn supports energy production because nutrients can get to where they need to go, and for nutrient absorption, those calciums that need to come in and all the different things that need to come into your cells. This is fundamentally important. So in essence, training helps ensure our bodies get the most out of the foods we eat, promoting overall health and overall vitality, right? But because we know we always talk about science in our space, and I know that a lot of us are quite intuitive, and it's nice to bring across facts that can drive our point a little bit further. And this is how we can use research to further validate the power of targeted nutritional supplementation. So ProVitality helps your body absorb essential nutrients. We know that from the food that you eat effectively, and supporting your overall health and well-being. But how does it do this? So I want to make an example. And how does it do this? So simply put, think about it. When you eat, say, raw vegetables, maybe a raw salad, for example, without any fat or good fats, your body may struggle to absorb those important nutrients like beta carotene, like lycopene, like lutein, which are also crucial for your health. However, if you didn't know, if you pair your salad with a healthy fat, like the ones that you find in ProVitality, for instance, your body may begin to absorb these nutrients more efficiently. And if we look at those studies there, up to 15 times more efficiently. There's a study that shows us that a diet that had all these healthy whole grain fats and other different types of fats, you could get 15 times more of the carotenoids that you had from your food. And that's pretty incredible. And then let's take vitamin D, which is the next point, which is a nice thing to talk to people about. Its absorption increases by 32% when consumed with healthy fats. And this is what we mean by this increased nutrient efficiency. Threonine is really the catalyst for that, right? And then ProVitality ensures that you get the most out of the food that you eat, especially when taken with a meal. That's important. Fat-soluble vitamins go really well with foods for absorption. So if you think about the supplements that are in your house that are fat-based or in a capsule of some sort, those would go really best with a meal. And what makes ProVitality even more special is that it contains these 3 unique lipid extracts that I touched on that no other product on the market offers. And recent research has also confirmed that significant health benefits of wheat germ oil. WGO is wheat germ oil, and rice bran oil, RBO, lower oxidative stress, reduce total cholesterol levels. How many people do we know with cholesterol problems? So taking in these particular supplements could aid in those fundamental problems that people are dealing with. And this is where you could plug yourself in. Now, the next product I want to talk about, because remember, ProVitality is 4 products in one, is our omega-3 salmon oil plus. And here again, we use research to further make our point about the benefits of omega-3. And omega-3 salmon oil plus in ProVitality is a vital source of essential fatty acids crucial for heart health. And just to go back again, essential fatty acids, meaning that it's not something that our bodies can make. We have to consume it from somewhere. And heart associations like the one here back home, so the Heart and Stroke Foundation here in South Africa, and I also tried to find another one, let's say in America Heart Association, recommend that consuming 2 servings of fatty fish per week for optimal heart health. And I've been traveling around and asking people how much fish that they consume. And I think the general consensus is that we would like to be consuming more. So people aren't even getting to that 2 servings of fish per week. And we've got this recent research that was published in 2020. And it's nice to refer back to things that have references. So those that you're talking to, you can share this information with them, that it supports the importance of omega-3 supplementation. A study with over 400,000 men and women found that regular fish oil supplementation was associated with a 13% lower risk of all causes of death. I think any percent of any cause of death would be good enough, but 30% is a really good place to start. And 16% lower risk of deaths from cardiovascular disease. So diseases related to the heart, of course. And then a 7% lower risk of heart attacks and coronary artery disease in the overall population, particularly if you are genetically predisposed. This is where you need to be pricking up your ears and thinking about what can I do to make sure that I can mitigate those risks, or your friends and family. This is where you plug in to show them that there are studies that show that people that are taking in these particular omega-3 supplementation really mitigate those risks of those in places that we end up going. In essence, incorporating omega-3 fatty acid sources, particularly like the one in a Pro Vitality, into your diet supports your heart, reduces the risk of various cardiovascular diseases or issues, as recommended by our leading health organizations. They're already telling us that we should be eating 2 servings of fatty fish, but obviously there are many, many barriers to be able to realize that. But what makes Neolife's omega-3 salmon oil plus so important? Remember, training, there isn't really any product that's the same as it on the market. Did you know that Neolife's omega-3 salmon oil plus is unique as well? It is the only product standardized to contain 8 essential omega-3s. Now, you may have never considered this because most of the time when you go buy your omega supplements, you usually see EPA and DHA, and basically they are responsible for inflammation and anti-inflammatory properties within the omega-3 space. But what about the rest? I mean, it's quite interesting to know that there are these other elements that we can talk about. And plus, our omega-3 salmon oil plus has been tested for over 200 contaminants. Now, I have a hard time just sort of conceptualizing that, but that's incredible. Checking if the product or these formulations that we make are safe for us to drink. So just one capsule of salmon oil omega plus provides the same amount of eating 2 servings of fatty fish per week, or about 10 servings per month in our 30-day supply of Pro Vitality. I will touch on that a little bit, but it comes in a sachet, and these are 4 particular products you can drink over a 30-day period. So they will give you these 10 servings of fish that you need. So you needn't worry about where are the gaps. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about one of those random omega-3 fatty acid families, because it's also a chance for us to learn. And I just picked a random one, which is DPA, which is the second last one. It's less well known than as EPA and DHA, but is increasingly recognized for its role in cardiovascular health. And there's no surprise there, because as a combination, we know that they are responsible for taking care of our heart and our brain, but it may also help reduce inflammation. And remember, fundamentally, what we're trying to mitigate is the risk of chronic inflammation, and that's where disease fundamentally begins. It also helps improve blood vessel function. That's cool. I mean, DPA improving our blood vessel function and contributing to our overall heart health. The specifics here aren't important. What's important here is that Neolife is giving you all of them, right? Instead of just the 1 or 2 that are popular, we're giving you all of them. Now, I wanted to touch on a study led by Ariana Karugi. I talked about her as being part of the SAB. And if you don't know who the SAB is, before advisory and scientific advisory boards were common and popular, we really were at the forefront of something like that. And that's very, very nice to know that we are in a space where people cared about making sure that whatever formulations that we come up with are based on referenceable places and also scientifically based. And this study was led by our respected SAB member, Ariana Karugi, and fish oil was found to have impressive health benefits. And I'm not really surprised here. It reduced triglycerides by 17%. And I want to talk a little bit about triglycerides, because usually if you go to the doctor, they'll test your lipid profile, you'll have your triglycerides, you'll have your HDLs, and you have your LDLs. And your triglyceride, in a sense, gives an overall picture, and it reduced them by 17%. It means that it helped those people who had those triglycerides that were in those dangerous areas. And it also increased the omega-3 index by 38%. And the omega-3 index basically measures the level of important fatty acids in our red blood cells, right? So it increased that by 38%. So increasing all the more important fatty acids that we need. And having a higher omega-3 index, and the index is between 8 and 12%, if you really wanted to know. So the index is measured between 8 and 12%, indicates better overall health. So the next time you do go take a test for your lipids or your cholesterol, ask your doctor for your omega-3 index and see if it lands in between this particular gap. And then we already know what you need to take to make sure that you can bring your triglycerides down. And we've seen that how omega-3 supports a heart, eye, brain, and joint health. So many, many good things to get from there. Additionally, fish oil was also found to lower an important marker of cellular inflammation by 68%. That's a staggering amount. This means that it helped replace harmful inflammatory fatty acids, and they've got names. Some are called arachidonic acid, with a beneficial anti-inflammatory acid called EPA in our cell membranes. But what we need to be grasping here is that it balances information. So if information is going in another direction, we have something that we can take that can bring us back to these balanced levels. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is carotenoid complex. And we all know that eating fruit and vegetables is good for us, right? But it turns out that we even need more than we thought. I mean, the ideal right now is telling us that we need about 10 servings per day. But a recent study that I read a week ago is telling us between 13 and 15. So the number keeps increasing because of the different dangers that we face outside and the barriers that we face outside, whether it's environmental or the fact that we can't really access those good quality foods, or the fact that food has simply changed, right? And a global study involving partners from the Imperial College of London, Harvard Medical School, and others found that eating at least 10 servings of fruit and vegetable could prevent millions of premature deaths from diseases like cancer and heart disease each year. Now, I don't know how to make the message more pronounced for you, but I know you wouldn't care for cancer or heart disease if it does not directly affect you. But the idea here is to have a preventative approach towards those kind of things, because they don't hit you until they've hit you, right? And unfortunately, most people fall short of their fruit and vegetable intake. We usually talk about five fruits and vegetables. We even struggle with that. And that recommendation has now exploded. And I wanted to make an example. Let's say in the US, for example, they found that approximately 90% of Americans don't even get the minimum recommended amount of those 5 servings per day, right? And in many African countries, even the ones that I've tried to find, there are a few studies, but there are studies that looked at children. And in those studies, it showed us that those children couldn't even get 1 fruit or vegetable per day. That's pretty sad, but that should tell us something. That should tell us something about the spaces that we're living in and the people that we can help, right? But in short, increasing our intake of fruits and vegetables to 10 servings per day. And if you have no idea what 10 servings per day looks like, it's a full plate of food. You know, it's about 800 grams of fruits and vegetables. It's a lot. you know. So you need to be eating a full plate of fruits and vegetables to really meet those limits. And I think most of us will struggle with that, especially if you want those significant health benefits. But many of us are still have a long way to meet those targets. And this is where carotenoid complex it can be a best addition to that space. And there are numerous studies that link carotenoids. I can't tell you how many studies I've seen on the power of carotenoids in different types of health aspects. So carotenoids, in simplified, it's the yellow, the orange, the red fruit and vegetables that you see. And those will offer you those carotenoids for multiple health benefits, including the risk of cancer and heart disease. They're known to also enhance immunity, improve cognitive function, eye health, skin health, just to name a few. So carotenoids are so important. And what's scary is that many of us aren't really getting those nutrients in those volumes that are required. And I wanted to talk a little bit about xanthophylls. If you look down the list, you get things like lutein and zeaxanthin and carotenes like beta and alpha carotene. Those things all play different important parts. And this is also a nice conversational point to point out that we have 15 powerful different carotenoids in this particular product, which is represented by carrots, red bell peppers, tomatoes, spinach, apricots, strawberries, peaches, all my favorite things. So this is where you hone in. If somebody says, or what is it about this product that you obviously think that it would be beneficial to me? And just mentioning the different type of whole foods this product is formulated from, it's exactly what everybody would be needing to plug into those dietary gaps. But the most important thing out of all this about carotenoid is the fact that Neolife's carotenoid complex was studied by the USDA. That's the United States DA. So it's the agricultural body in the United States. So basically, these researchers did their own studies, and they found that our carotenoid complex boosted immune capacity by 37% in 20 days. So what they found in those 20 days is that it increased something called lymphocytes, including natural killer cells. And what are lymphocytes and why should you care? Lymphocytes are basically white blood cells, right? Which include your T cells and your C cells. And lymphocytes also include your natural killer cells. And all these type of lymphocytes that I'm talking about are important warriors and fighters in your immune health. You need these particular lymphocytes to fight off illnesses and diseases. So in 20 days, carotenoid complex, a 37% uptake of the good fighters that you want in your body. And that's pretty incredible. And each capsule of carotenoid complex provides an optimal serving of a wide variety of carotenoid-rich fruits and vegetables, which I mentioned, carrots, red bell peppers. And in other words, you get the equivalent phytonutrients found in a typical serving of fruits and vegetables by taking ProVitality. So you need not worry that you are getting all those nutrients or micronutrients that you need. If you take this particular supplement, you will plug in those gaps, particularly for the fruits you don't eat, right? Because there are fruits that you love to eat and the ones that you don't. So this would obviously help you in that space. And then the fourth component of our ProVitality product is our proprietary micronutrient blend, which is our essential vitamin and mineral complex, right? Our multi. And according to the World Health Organization, about 30%, that's 2 billion people. 2 billion people have a micronutrient deficiency, and most of them actually don't know it. So taking a supplement helps to provide those essential vitamins and minerals often missing from our diets. Yes, of course, the gold standard is accessing healthy foods. But what happens if I live in a place where I can't access food, or even if I can, I know that it's processed and I'm missing those particular nutrients. In this particular product, we have these phytoenzymes added to this formulation to make and support for easy digestion, means that it disintegrates quite nicely when it gets to the stomach. And this micronutrient blend helps us to bridge that dietary gap that occurs when many of us are unable to. So our proprietary blend of micronutrients combined with carotenoid complex provides this nutrient powerhouse for optimal health. So how do I end this off? I mean, Pro Vitality to me sounds like a meal in a box, right? So it gives you everything that you need. And for that particular day, you would have hit your marks. So you would not have to worry that I did not get this and I did not get that. And of course, days are not the same. A 30-day supply of Pro Vitality is equivalent to 5.5 kilograms of whole grain lipids and sterols. Now, remember, our whole grains aren't the same as they were before. So we are missing those key nutrients. Then we've got 36.3 kilograms of carotenoid-rich fruit and vegetables. That's incredible. I wish I could eat that much fruit and vegetables on a monthly basis if I could. And then we've got 10 servings of omega-3 rich fish. And that would plug in that gap where I need to be taking care of my brain health, where I need to be taking care of my heart, where I need to be taking care of my joints. So those people that are coming to you talking about these particular things, this is where you can plug in. But fundamentally, people are looking for an abundance in energy. So Pro Vitality is that core nutrition that everybody needs, regardless of their fitness status. So you could be an elite athlete, you could be elderly, you could be quite young, right? And that's why there's this 30-day supply that can make it easier for you to take every day. And lastly, before I close, if you do nothing else, take Pro Vitality. Thank you.